DK Golf Cat, presented by Bones Brothers Media.
It was the dude in the Big Lebowski. Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you. Welcome to the program. My name is Edge, the Bones DK Golf Show, the DraftKings Fantasy Golf World Championships over the weekend. And we saw our boy Wolf Goat take a 41st for 10,000 in the $1 million tournament. We saw him take a 40th place for 6,000 in the Sunday Showdown, a grand total of $16,000, all on a satellite ticket, mind you. So let's clap it up. Clap it up for the kid. Very proud of Wolf Goat, and what a great honor for Bones DK to be there with him. Here to talk all about it. You know, I was following you on the socials, trying to keep up on the private text threads. There was a lot going on throughout the weekend and a lot to unpack here. But let's start with this, Bones DK. It is a bottom line business. After the dust settled, walking away with $16,000 cash, was the vibe triumphant at the free money? Was there a little bit of bitterness that we didn't get a bigger score? A little bit of both. Begin with that. What was the overall vibe as you and Wolf Goat slapped hands and said goodbye for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of both. Obviously, it wasn't the result we necessarily wanted, pretty much a min cash in both contests. But, we can't be upset about the result. Again, this is for all you guys listening too. He got it off a $13 satellite to get into this event. So you can't be upset at the end of the day. Of course, there was a lot more to win out there. But being there, we really were treated as VIPs. It was incredible. We had a private VIP box the whole time on the 18th green. They treated us like kings there. I really got to give it my hats off to DraftKings the way they treated us there. We had private buses the whole time. Got to play the 3M Open. I'll tell you what was really the buzzkill at the very end is Grillo having that 5-foot birdie on 18 would have cashed Wolf Goat another $2,000. And for some reason, he marked the ball and didn't putt it, and let Koiven finish out by himself at the end. So he marked the ball. Koiven hits that 15-foot par. Grillo still has to go hit that putt while everyone's celebrating and cheering. And Wolf Goat, everyone's in the background, doesn't care about Grillo at all, and he's sitting there just sweating it like, please, please go in another 2,000. And he lipped out, and it just was kind of the cherry on top of how the weekend went for us, missing that. But hats off to Wolf Goat, man. There's nothing to be disappointed about. And again, this is our first time of hoping to be many more fantasy golf championships to go to.
Yeah, it's really opened my eyes to the ticket contests on DraftKings, quite honestly. I looked at a lot of them over the weekend because I saw what a great time you and Wolf Goat were having up there. Walk us through a little bit more of the weekend, Bones DK. When you get off the plane and you guys meet, you guys went to a VIP social, and were there golf simulators? Was there food? Was there drinks? What was that like?
Yeah, it was. They had Five Eye rented out privately for only us. It was incredible. We had hors d'oeuvres going around, open bar, par three contest at Five Eye, close to the pin. Got some prizes, spinning wheels. You could have won gear, golf balls, some pretty good things. I can't remember everything. I spun it, and of course, only got a 3-pack of golf balls. Was going
Top
for more.
flights. Top flights,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But man, we were getting interviewed by DraftKings. What were they? They were Callaways. They weren't too bad. Chrome Soft. Um, but Wolf Goat steps up and hits just a perfect shot on his first one, and the guy's like, "Look at this! He's gonna stick it!" And everyone else, they weren't great golfers there. There were some great good golfers, but the 8 that we were playing with were all kind of, 18 handicaps like us. But just a really, really cool experience. He got a sweatshirt hors d'oeuvres. We were talking to Toe Tag and Tambo, other legends. Woodrow, who won the $1 million, was there. Woodrow ended up actually taking first and third in the week long, and then got a top 5, I believe, in the showdown, walking away with 1.2 million. So that was up for grabs there, and really cool guy actually. He doesn't even have a logo on his DraftKings account. He was like, "Yeah, I just don't really care about that stuff." Low key guy, but really cool. I mean, I was talking to him all weekend, and And the 5i thing was incredible. Then we took a VIP bus back and then had a shuttle to the course anytime we wanted from 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Dropped us off right there. Right when you enter the 3M Open, the 18th suites are there. We have our tag. It said "Welcome in," and hors d'oeuvres, coffee, open bar, mimosa bar in the morning till 10:30 in the morning. Followed up by catered event the whole time. So again, and we had VIP tags. It felt special. I really did feel like a VIP there.
Fantastic. And then you got to actually play the 3M course on Monday. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Luckily, they didn't make us play from the tips. We played from the blues. It was a shamble, so we used the best drive and then kind of played your own ball after that in a shotgun start. So we actually started on hole 9, where we saw Keith Mitchell and Tom Kim the day before watching this. So it was really cool. Uh, so you saw me at Myrtle Beach, Edge. I sometimes don't start off too well. Thank God I just laced a drive down the middle to start the tournament, and I turned around to the guys and said, "Hey, don't get used to this." It's but that was a good start, and that was the long drive. So we kind of got shafted on that because the long drive was on hole number 9, and that was the first hole of the day for us. I was almost embarrassed to put my long drive out there because I was the only one to hit the fairway, but it was like 225 yards.
Yeah, I mean, if you play enough golf, you know to just leave the plaque somewhere in the middle of the fairway and not write your name on that one.
Yeah,
Sure.
the rough was insane. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I only lost 2 balls the entire round that we played. Had an insane 3-wood shot over the 18th water on that par 5. The guys with me say, "Hey man, why not? Like just go for it." I go, "I don't know if I can reach it. It's like 212 yards. Wind was in our face. I just step up and lace a 3-wood, barely covers the water, hits it, bounces about 20 yards right outside of the green. So that was my best shot of the day there. But there was one time where I couldn't find my ball in the rough because it was so thick. It was crazy. I mean, you had to step on the ball to find it. The rough, I'd say, was the hardest part. The greens were a little fast. I thought they were going to be a little faster, to be honest with you. They were pure. The course was beautiful, but we had the 3M tee boxes on every shot closest to the pin. And it was just cool, like thinking that Scotty Scheffler and Keith Mitchell and all our boys, Brian Harmon, were playing on those tee boxes the day before.
Yeah, I've never really like been a guy that's like in awe of any specific golf course. I mean, obviously there's a few exceptions, but I would love to play a PGA Tour setup the Monday after the tournament. And I know that there's a lot of opportunities out there to do that if you know the right people when the PGA Tour comes to town. It's just awesome that you and Wolf got to do that. Thanks again to DraftKings for the VIP treatment that Bones DK Golf got, and thanks again to Wolf Goat for having us up there. We move on in the PGA Tour, and Wildman is joining us. We're almost 10 minutes into the program, Wildman, before you get to speak. How you doing over there?
I'm doing great. I mean, I'm in awe of the whole thing, like listening to what he was describing. Yeah, the cash may have fallen a little short, in terms of what was out there, but you got to add in that whole package, right? I mean, that's value to your cash as well. That's probably $5,000 worth of tickets and travel and food and drinks and stuff that they got too. So, and being able to play a PGA Tour setup, I mean, how else do you get that opportunity without earning it? So, look, end of the day, he's in the top 41 of the world in 2026 in terms of fantasy golf. It's a win. It's a winning weekend.
And end of the day, keep in mind those ticket contests when you're playing DK for the rest of the 4 or 5 weeks of PGA golf that matter here. Those ticket contests to get into something like that, where you not only have an opportunity to win $1 million, but all that added value as well that you're talking about there, Wildman. Certainly something to think about as we get back into the betting this week. Rocket Challenge in Detroit this week, Wildman. Interesting field. I'd say you've got like 10 elite players in this field, and then a bunch of up and comers. And this is kind of their, time to shine with some of the, if you will, even though you have these 10 elite players, weaker fields. So talk a little bit about the course first, Wildman, a little bit about the field. What kind of build are you looking for this week?
Yeah, I'll get right into the course here, but I also want to shout out Zach from the Bones DK Private League. Took third in the 200 for another 10K. And then he actually won another 17,000 in satellite seats. So he had a heck of a lineup this week too. He'll be back in the King of the Desert. He's in the 44-44. So another awesome satellite week for Zach, another member of the team.
Congratulations, Zach. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, Zach and Wolf Goat, another huge week. So the course, okay, so it's been played here. This is the 8th rendition at Detroit Golf Club. This is the first rendition that it's been altered. It's been a par 72 every year leading up to this one. They've now made it a par 70. So they've lengthened it a little bit. They're trying to make it more difficult. There's not a single drip of water on the course, which is interesting, but there is a lot of penal areas off the tee. So, par 70, a little bit on the longer side, about 72, 7,300. And they've converted 2 of the par 5s into long par 4s. So, to me, I think it's critical to be in the fairway this week. They've added fescue. They've narrowed the fairways down into be one of the tighter courses, only about 26 yards wide on the fairways. So to me, I mean, look, it always comes down to putting almost every week. Like Koivu last week, I think they said was 43 for 43 inside 5 feet. That's how you win a golf tournament, right? At the end of the day. But I think you're going to need to be in the fairway and create yourself some opportunities. So for me, number one thing this week is driving accuracy.
So here's the 10 elite guys, I think, Bones DK, that I was talking about here. You got Young, who is the highest salary at 10.5, Schauffele at 10.2, Gotterup at 9.8, Kim at 9.6, Koivu at 9.4. Maybe a little bit of a hangover for Koivu after the win. I don't know. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, Bones DK. But you got Wyndham Clark, who's always dangerous at 9.3, Henley at 9.2, Cantlay at 9.1, and I'll finish the top 10. I think that's 10. Matsuyama, Decky. I love him. 9,000. That's a great price if you're looking for a guy to go 6 for 6 on, because he's 18 for 18 in cuts this season. So I know you had a long trip in from Minnesota last night through Baltimore, through Pittsburgh. Tell me who you got here to start your core 4, Bones DK.
Yeah, listen, I did have a long trip, guys. So I am doing my best to do my research. I didn't get in until 2:30 in the morning last night. My flight was canceled. I had a 4-hour delay in Baltimore.
Excuses. Let's get to it.
But I don't, listen, is Jackson Koivu hung over from the win? I don't know. I mean, I saw a clip of him like 2 hours after he finished the tournament, and he was fishing in the pond of 18, just relaxing by himself. This kid is young. That was very, very impressive what I saw. The confidence in him is something that I don't think is going to go away. And I think he's a pretty easy click, to be honest with you, this week. I mean, he hit that one shot from the fairway, 310 yards, and was walking it in like Tiger Woods. Will he putt the same way he did this week? Probably not, but I still believe he's going to be a top play this week, Jackson Koivu. I hate to, I mean, it's a pretty obvious play to play him again, right? But I don't think he's going to be hungover. I think he's going to be in contention, especially because it's like another birdie fest. The guy can obviously putt, he can do everything. And that confidence is something I haven't seen out of a player in years. So I love Jackson Koivu this week. And if you're talking about driving accuracy, why not like Russell Henley? I mean, he's a boy in our team and on the Bones DK cast. The last 2 tournaments he's had a 66 and a 64 on Sunday. I really am trying to look at that because every time I pick a guy, they seem to implode on Sunday. Our guy just cannot finish. So Russell Henley coming off a 12th and 9th, he's going to lead off my core 4 this week. Russell Henley, 9,200.
Anybody in that top 10 wild man that you like? And just to speak to Koivu, you're right. That boy had some swag out there all weekend long. Never once looked rattled. Anybody in that top 10 wild man?
I mean, it's unbelievable that he went out there on Sunday with that lead and shot a bogey-free 66 with Scheffler coming up in the rearview mirror, And I mean that's you're right. I mean, that's guts. Now, he missed the cut at the John Deere. How do you explain that, right? I mean, that was one of our number one corollary courses leading to last week. So I tend to think a hangover is looming in a situation like this. Just so much emotion and, sort of the disbelief of what he's accomplished. I sort of think a hangover and a correction in that putting is sort of probably most likely. I'm going to pass on Wyndham Clark this week due to driving accuracy. I'll go down to Patrick Cantlay, 9,100. I mean, he's sort of like the PGA Tour's version of Bryson. I feel like everybody hates him and just thinks he's a dork. bothered with pace of play and things like that. But 9,100 in a field that only boasts 19 of the top 50 players in the world seems like a pretty good price. And I mean, like, man, you could squeeze in 4 or 5 guys down there in the low 9Ks and have a really good lineup to start with.
You like Cantlay more than Decky?
No, I like Decky as well. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, you go Henley, Matsuyama, and Cantlay. I mean, you got 3, major winners, FedEx Cup winners there. That's a really nice place to start.
If we drop down to the $8,000 range, Bones, we got Griffin, Knapp, Spawn, the old gum chewer at 8.5, Batia at 8.4, Fowler is a familiar name at 8.1, Koepka at 8,000, Bridgman at 7.9. Pretty interesting there. Any of those guys?
Yeah. So the second guy in my core 4, I think, is the easiest click of the week. Jake Knapp, $8,800. I said it last week on the podcast. I'm just waiting for him to get out of this slump and see what's going on, because I believe he's one of the best players on tour, and he showed it by having 10 birdies on Sunday. Of course, I played him in the first 3 showdowns of the week, faded him on Sunday, and he goes out and shoots a 9 under. It was pretty disgusting, to be honest with you, but I expected it out of him. So Jake Knapp is going to lead off my core 4 as the second guy. Absolutely love him. And yeah, Hideki Matsuyama, he had a 70 on round 1, finished up with 3 rounds in a row, sub 66. So Hideki Matsuyama is a great play this week. He's not in the core 4, but I think if you start Henley, Hideki, Knapp, Cantlay is an interesting play out of Wadman. But I'll say this: he's good with picking Patrick Cantlay when you least expect it. So I got to back Wadman there on the Cantlay play. But Hideki Matsuyama, Jake Knapp are definitely my favorite plays in this range. I think an interesting guy. He had a good finish here last year and tends to pour in birdies. Usually does really well. Is Michael Thorbjornsen. He's my other favorite play in the 8K range at 8,200.
Decky, just one last thought on Decky. He has been starting slow and finishing strong all season long, though. Wild man. Anybody in that $8,000 range?
Yeah, I think, by the way, the last 2 times I picked Cantlay on this podcast, he's won. Something to think about. No, 8Ks, guys, there's not really much going for me. I'm Harris English, man, it's so painful to say it, but I'm passing on him. I think Akshay Bhatia sprays it off the tee. I think you can get into a lot of trouble with him, although he's got an elite iron play and a very elite putter. It's just going to be a matter of if he can hit it long enough and keep it straight. I think a bit risky in a single entry, so to speak, or for example. So those are kind of my only takes in the 8Ks. We should have known when Knapp ran that 50-footer in on 18 on Friday or on Saturday, sorry, that okay, that's a sign, right? You guys were sitting there leaning over the railing. I was watching it on TV. I think we texted about it right when he did it. He put it up on the fringe and all the way down, and then he comes out and shoots 62. He's a streaky player, so I could see it. Now, guys, remember this too. This is the penultimate event of the regular season. So these guys only have this week and next week to qualify for the playoffs. So if you're not in the top 100, A, you're in jeopardy of losing your PGA Tour card. B, you're in jeopardy of making the playoffs. So you're going to want to look at guys that really need to play well and are going to come out and kind of treat this as a major. So I would keep that in mind.
Spieth at 7,700. Suber, an interesting play. We liked him last week at 75. McCarthy had a real nice week last week. Top 5, I think. He's at 75 also. Go down a little bit further. Gim let us down big time last week at 74. Kiefer, who blew up at the 3M at 74. Coles at 73. We liked him last week. You get even further down, Meissner and Potgieter, who won here last year. So anybody there, Bones DK, that's lighting the lamp for you, if you will.
Yeah, I do like a lot of guys in this range. My third guy in the core 4 is going to be Davis Thompson, 7,700. This guy's an elite ball striker and player, can really string up birdies. I was watching him live last week. He had an insane Saturday. All rounds under the 70 or all rounds under 70 last week. So we got that sub 70 bonus. I see him doing it again this week. Davis Thompson, 7,700. Eric Cole is very interesting to me in this range. he had, in the last couple of tournaments, he had a 64, 66, but in the same tournament had a 76 and 75. And then you go to his other tournaments, he had a 63 and 65, and then has a 76 and 70. So, man, he's all over the map. But the signs that he's showing, having 63, 65, 64 is all around here. If he strings them together, I could see him easily having a top five this week. So I really like Eric Cole. And I also see a rebound week on Jackson Suber, 7,500. He really let us down last week, but I can see him finishing up. He had a 6 tier last year. Wouldn't be surprised. He was pretty chalky last week, let a lot of people down. So a lot of people are going to fade him this week. I think it's a great rebound opportunity for Jackson Suber this week.
What do you think about Doug Gim, wild man, this week? Really let us down last week.
I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a price drop that significant. He was 9K last week, 7,400 this week. And we kind of played him last week too because he was 9K. You're like, okay, nobody's clicking him right at 9K. It's an absurd price. He doubled 18 to miss the cut, or doubled 17 to miss the cut. So that was perfect. He was in cruise control with about 20 minutes to go. I'll pass on him. I'm going to give you a name. This guy's 90th in the FedEx Cup, 7,400. Rasmus Niergaard Peterson. He played well. He shot a bogey-free Sunday 66 at the 3M this past weekend. He's coming in with 4 or 5 straight made cuts that are all like top 30s, top 25s, throwing a top 10 there. So he's going to play well this week, and he can make birdies and he can make eagles. Am I frozen?
You were there for a second. Bones DK, your final guy in the core four. Who you got?
I can tell just by how you're like smirking. I'm like, I'm probably
like. To finalize the core four, I'm going to drop down to the $6,000 range, but I do want to shout out one more guy, Seamus Power, coming off a 10th and 11th place. He's a guy that we've won money on at this tournament before. He was actually one of my biggest hits back in 2021, and Power was in it. So really, really like Seamus Power this week. In fact, he probably should be the 4th in the core four, but I got to play my boy, $6,800, Kevin Roy. We play him all the time. I was actually on the rope with him on about 3 holes, and I was yelling his name, and he actually laughed a few times at me. I was just like, "Come on, Kevin! Come on, Kevin!" And he loved it. He was giving me a lot of head nods, and nobody else was cheering for him. But he was one of my favorite players. I like what I saw out of him, so I'm going to fire up Kevin Roy and honorable mention Seamus Power.
Wild man, who's your Rogue Warrior this week?
All right, Rogue Warrior lost in a playoff here last year. Coming in off 2 straight made cuts, was in contention there for a little bit, it felt like, at the 3M early on. Has had a problem, has gotten over it, but that's another soft spot for us. It's going to be Chris Kirk at 6,900. He's put the booze away. Like I said, lost in a 5-hole playoff here last year to Aldrich Potgieter. So we'll go with Chris Kirk as the Rogue Warrior.
Anybody else, Bones DK, that you want to talk about here at the Detroit Rocket Challenge?
That just made me laugh. I'm sorry. It's not funny. You want people to be off the booze. I had quite a few this weekend, so I get where he's coming from. I think Lee Hodges is a great play, $6,800. I'm just trying to scroll through here. The Pittsburgh kid, I just wanted to shout this guy out. I don't know if I necessarily like him, but Neil Shipley, he's a Pittsburgh kid, played with our boy Marshall Brown before at the St. Clair Country Club, so I was rooting for him all week. Neil Shipley is a great kid. I don't know if I'd fire him up this week. And then, there's our guy at 6,700. Who do you think I'm talking about? Tom Hoge, who just totally imploded. He was T14, birdie after 1. I was actually texting I can't wait to be on this guy's rope the whole weekend, Tom Hoge, and see him play. He really imploded. He's a head case, man, but wouldn't be surprised to see him follow up a little better this week. I don't know how sharp of a play he really is going to be, but I'm going to have a share or two of Tom Hoge in my lineups.
Yeah, you know what? What was really painful about the 3M this week, for me at least, in a lot of my lineups, is there was only about 6 or 8 guys who went full ejection mode at the 3M, and I had every single guy that went ejection mode. You know, it was Gim,
It felt that way.
it
I
was
mean, God,
Jarvis,
man.
it was Hoagie. When our guys went, it was Glover. When our guys went bad, it went bad for these guys. And
Suber, Gim,
yeah,
all these guys. I mean, they were all in contention.
yeah.
Suber was in 20th. Hoagie was in 14th. Gim was fighting, and they totally ejected. Man, I mean, it was painful to watch. But on to this week, right? On to this week.
All right, Wildman, prop drop for us. It has been a highlight, as the Rogue Warrior has. I want to give you credit where credit's due. Who do we got on the prop drop this week?
Yeah, but well, I mean, by the way, Glover, I mean, say goodbye. Send this guy to champion store. It's over. He took his shoes off, walked to get the ball out because they're complaining about metal spikes. I mean, that little flash in the pan 2 weeks ago is gone.
I mean,
Believe me.
the thing about Glover, which is crazy, is we nailed it. I mean, we were talking about like, boy, this really sets up for him. And what does he do? Go tie T1 or T2 after the first round, and then he just came out the next day and was like, "Let me hit the ejection seat. I'm out of here. I can't putt anymore." He forgot how to putt.
Hey, I'm out of here. I mean, it really felt like that. It really did. Same with Hoagie. My goodness, those 5-footers. Good heavens. I mean, Suber went 43 for 43. I'll bet you Hoagie was like 8 for 22 inside 5 feet. It was that bad. All right, prop drops. We're going back to the regional because we have to, right? So I just mentioned him, Rasmus Niergaard Peterson. Let's go top Danish player, Rasmus Niergaard Peterson. You're getting him about plus 225, plus 250. We'll go right back to top Japanese player, Hideki Matsuyama, plus money, around plus 130 right now. He's with a couple guys like that are probably going to miss the cut. He'll have to deal with Hisatsune, but essentially that's a plus money one-on-one with Hisatsune. So we'll go Hideki, top Japanese. We're going to go Niergaard Peterson, top Dane, and we will take hole in one. There hasn't been one in too long. So let's go ace, yes, minus 130.
I just saw Bones DK dislodge what I believe to be a velo there. I don't think he's a Zen
I thought
guy.
he was foaming at the mouth earlier.
It appeared if you saw Koivun walk into the scorer's table that he took out a Zyn or some type of nicotine pouch as well. Do you think that was the key to him holding off Scheffler by 3 shots on Sunday?
I do. And we were tailing Jarvis, trying to get him his slump out. He started plus 333. We're watching Jarvis, and he hits one on the green. He walks over and just starts ripping a vape. He's just sitting there. He's looking away from the crowd, just like, not sure if it was nicotine or not, to be honest with you. The caddy 100% wasn't a nicotine vape he was hitting. I'll just tell you that right now. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. But I do believe he put a fresh pillow in and into his lip, into the upper decky and upper Hideki and helped his nerves there.
Wildman, pace of play seems to be a problem. Everybody thought Glover took his shoes off because he's been an outspoken, opponent of the pace or, outspoken critic of pace of play. Are these guys playing too slow, do you think? I mean, I did see like a side-by-side of Cantlay taking like 45 seconds to hit the same shot that took Ryan Fox seconds.
I'm on an island with this one. I know it. But the pace of play argument is so lame. First of all, as a spectator, what does it matter to you when you got 8 cameras switching back and forth? You don't know what's going on. And I'll say this, and this is where I want the timer on, because they can show Ryan Fox and they can show whomever go up and address it and one waggle and hit it. And then they show Harman go up. And by the way, I'll die on Harman Hill, as you know. But, he'll go up and waggle 15 times. But look, if you want to start the timer from the point they get to their ball, because I saw Scheffler take 11 minutes with a conversation with Ted Scott on how to play it over there. Now, he gets up and hit when he addresses, he hits it quickly. But does that disregard an 8 or 9 minute conversation walking around the green? So like, just spare me with the thing that like Harman's waggle bothers you so much and Cantlay's toe wiggling bothers you so much. Again, I'll summarize it. By the time you get to your ball and the time you play your shot, that's the timer I want to compare these guys.
I will say this, that when I am out at a public or private course playing with locals, and they do that shit, I am saying the exact same things that the other players are saying as well. This guy takes forever to hit the golf ball. Come on, man. Get up
I mean,
and swing.
That's a great example because like very few times is it a 30-second waggle that's bothering you. It's that he's walked across the fairway without his club. He's got a Miller Lite in his hand and the cart's over there. Like the pace of play is not standing over the golf.
I mean, even when you get to a place like Pinehurst where guys are like kind of like on the ball, like ready to play, like there's still guys that are like, let me get my glove out and put it on and oh wait, here's my 7-iron. Let me put my cover right here, and like get up and hit it.
By the way, perhaps this is striking a chord with me. The last time I played with 3 guys that are friends of the program, D'Lo, Cobra, and Insky. And it was me and Cobra, and they were annoyed with my pace of play the entire day. That I mark my ball, I do all this. So they started driving up to the green while I'm in the fairway. And I mean, it was like a manager and an umpire on 16. I'm like, you got to drive up there one more time in front of me. They're like, well, hit the shot.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Pick it up, dude.
I mean, it was the first time I was ever called slow, and I'm going like, maybe I'm a slow player.
To the man hitting the ball, there's a difference between like a 75 and an 85. To a guy that's like watching you do it, they don't care at all. Just get up there and hit the shot. Nobody gives a damn. Do it as quickly as you can.
Oh, here's what he said. D'Lo's a very non-confrontational guy, but he did drive up next to the green. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You're not slow, cuz you're just deliberate." So that was the nice way of putting it, I guess.
That's diplomatic. I was scrolling through my TikTok and something random comes up. It's Bryson DeChambeau's face holding his cell phone. And he says, I've got 1 hour to make a hole-in-one from this raft in the pond in my backyard. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is going on with this guy? The divot situation on 18, the controversy at the Open. Where's this guy going to be next year, Bones?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know, but he's a character. He's a character.
He doesn't want to get into it very much. He doesn't want to talk about DeChambeau. I know Wildman doesn't mind talking about him.
It's like talking politics these days. That's
true.
That's true.
He strikes a chord with a lot of people. There's no doubt.
I said this before. I showed you guys. Obviously, we're all familiar with the rope incident. We're familiar with him hitting off the ball above his feet out of the bunker where he Supermaned into the ground. He gets in a fairway divot. I mean, I've been watching and playing golf for almost 40 years. I've never seen anything that dramatic and that performative than acting like you just hit a shot off of Pebble Beach, the actual beach with rocks and roots. I mean, it was a freaking fairway divot, this guy. But yeah, like I have 1 hour to make an ace. Like you're a 2-time US Open champion.
How about the new word performative now? I mean, everybody's using it. Everybody's using performative now. I mean, it's the new word in golf.
When you find a word that describes someone or something so perfectly, you just have to stick with what works. I will say this about DeChambeau, because I ripped him last week. I was like, I don't think the tour is missing him at all. When that TikTok video came across my feed today, my heart almost like broke for the guy. I was like, you should really be out running down Rory McIlroy instead of playing miniature golf from a platform in a pond in your backyard, dude. I mean, really, you got to get back after it. You got to use this hatred that you feel from other people as energy to make your haters your biggest motivators, man. And now I'm going back and forth. He is a polarizing figure, but geez, I can't watch Bryson DeChambeau makes YouTube videos of that quality when he's won 2 US Opens at 2 of the hardest golf courses to win them at. He's got to be out running down. He's got to be the villain on the tour then,
I think it would be good for the tour if he came back on. I really do.
Yeah, wow. I don't know how many people hate him. Like, I don't hate him. it's just like, be a man, grow up. He threatened to take his ball and go home when he got a 2-shot penalty. Like, you think it's the first 2-shot penalty in the history of golf? You're gonna quit, and you think that that's like that's the right way to kind of sway the tables? Is like, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just leave then. Like,
yeah,
okay.
I mean that take has been hashed out for a long time since that incident there. I mean, we've got to eventually move on from it. But again, he's too good at golf to become a YouTube celebrity, even if he has to stick with live golf for the next couple seasons or whatever it may be. Anyhow, that was just a wild thing to see.
You see him smoke Ian Poulter? You see him smoke Ian Poulter?
Did
with
see him almost kill Ian Poulter, and I don't know if anybody would have shed a tear had that happened, honestly.
I had to Google who Ian Poulter was. I was like, who is that again?
Ian Poulter's one of those guys, dude. It's like, what if he were maimed by that golf ball? Like, what would people say about it? You know what I mean? They'd be like, yeah, it's sad it happened, but
Let me ask you guys a question real quick. Yeah, I mean, he's he's like one of the least beloved guys, certainly in American golf. Does Bryson DeChambeau ever win a PGA Tour event again?
I think he's going to win a major again. I do. I think he is driven enough to and he's good enough to win a US Open. It takes a really certain type of unique golfer to win a US Open, and he's done it twice. So I could see him doing that again, and he just hits it so far also. But I don't think they're ever going to let him back on the PGA. I don't think he'll ever be back on the PGA.
I mean, he's got to win again. He gets a 5-year exemption into the majors by winning the US Open, which was, what was that, 2022 or 2024. So he's got until 2029 to qualify into the majors. But I mean, opportunities run out,
Well, let's move on from Bryson DeChambeau because we're betting him this week. We're betting the Rocket Challenge in Detroit this week. Wildman, his Rogue Warrior is Chris Kirk. We've got Decky as the top Asian player, Wildman.
Top
Japanese player. We've got Knapp in our core 4. We've got Thompson in our core 4. Did we put Seamus Power in the core 4 there, Bones DK?
It's Kevin Roy with the honorable mention of Seamus Power. Either one of those two is a final spot in a cheap play.
All right. And if you need more info, you can always go back and listen to the podcast over and over and over again. If you're looking at my gear too, I've got the Bones DK hat going, got the Bones DK shirt going. We're going to be getting some shirts for the guys out there. Also, keep an eye on the social media handles for that. And we're going at it in Detroit this weekend. For TW Man and Bones DK, my name is Edge. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, like I said, good luck in Detroit at the Rocket Challenge.